So the good news is I'm getting closer and closer to figuring out how to get off this ship. The bad news is I'm hearing voices. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Nation News, where we're going to be talking about the updates from August 13th until August 21st. And this video is coming out a day late due to the Long Beach Collecticon, so I wanted to make sure that I was able to capture both days in a single video, rather than capturing day 1 this week and day 2 next week. So thank you for your patience. First up, last week on the 14th, we had the Gamer Sups release. So this was the energy drink powder that you could buy that came with the Bigfoot promo. It did sell out by the end of the day, and it was rumored to have about 2,300 units. And my order had shipped out by Thursday, so these are already on their way to the people that ordered them. The Wilderness flavor is green apple, and it was announced that UFO Blast will be the next flavor. It hasn't been announced what that flavor is going to be, but with Flatwood Monsters having the blue beams coming out of her hands, I'm really hoping for a blue raspberry type flavor. We started to get a look at a number of the tarot cards this week, and the first ones that were teased are the Sun, Death, Six of Pentacles, and the Devil. The Sun features a caster riding a unicorn. There's a big sun in the background there. The Death, obviously, is Grim Reaper. Six of Pentacles has the black-eyed children, and there are 6 pentacles on that card. And the Devil is, obviously, Old Scratch. There were a few more teased this week. Andy had actually asked the chat to pick a few. I was lucky enough to be active in chat at the time to pick one. And we got to look at the Magician, which is Loveland Frogman. We got the Nine of Swords, which we don't really get to see. I thought it was going to be Squonk, since Nine of Swords is typically regretful and depicted as a woman crying on a bed. But the tease that we got didn't actually really show the art. You can see 9 baseball bats. The baseball bats are progressively turning into the sword, and you can see a bedpost. Next we have the Lovers, and you can see Rose Robinson there on the card. Green Man is in the upper part of the card in the foliage, and it can be assumed that Sam St. Clair is on the other side of the card that we can't see. We get a look at the Moon, which has the moon in the sky. You can see a wolf howling up at it. And for the Fool, we have Sam St. Clair in a jester's outfit. Now, an interesting thing to note here is that these have black borders, and the black border tarot cards are essentially samples or prototypes. These are the cards that are being given away at Collecticon Long Beach, and the real tarot cards are expected to have red borders. We get a look at this Mothman mask here, and these are teasing the costumes or masks that MetaZoo is working on. I think we're going to get more than just Mothman, and given that it's a mask, I would expect to see these closer to October. For UFO updates this week, we got to look at this Monster of Partridge Creek image here, and this looks very similar to the sticker arts that have been done for the Wilderness LGS kits. So what I believe that Andy was teasing here is that we're going to be seeing the UFO LGS kits going live soon. The UFO lunchboxes went live on August 22nd on MetaZoo's eBay store, and these sold out fairly quickly. If you remember from last week, we talked about these. These are a tin lunchbox. They have a thermos inside. They're going to come with a big coin, a pencil, dice, status effect indicators, as well as 5 eBay branded UFO packs and a random splattering of UFO, Wilderness, Nightfall, and Cryptid Nation 2nd Edition. The lunchbox will also come with a thermos featuring this art here that we've already seen in the past, and will include a promo card that allows you to turn your UFO beasties invisible until the end of turn. Looking forward to this Friday on the 26th, the UFO binders are going to be live on the MetaZoo Marketplace. It's unclear at this time how much those are going to cost. If we look back at Wilderness, those went live for $30. Moving on to Seance updates, the first thing we got to look at was this crystal ball spoiler here. So this is a 1-cost spirit aura artifact that at the beginning of your turn, both casters have to reveal their hand. So this is the first official Seance card that people are getting in hand. Now, Tormentic recently put out a very interesting theory involving the crystal ball and the orbs in UFO, so if you want to check that out, I will put a link to that at the end of this video. It's actually very interesting. MetaZoo also teased this image here. It's a very ornate brown and gilded theme here. And judging from the shape and the size of this, I'm assuming this is going to be the sleeves that are going to be in the Seance spellbooks. We are already getting teases for the theme decks for Seance, and these are all going to be dual aura theme decks. The first one that we got to look at is for Saint Germain, and this features a vampire on the art. This theme deck will consist of dark and spirit cards, and it's unclear at this time if Saint Germain is going to be a dual aura dark spirit beastie. The second theme deck we got to look at is for Love, and this is a water earth. This theme deck will feature the return of Loveland Frogman, and the interesting thing with these two theme decks is that the aura types are conflicting with each other. Dark is strong against spirit, and spirit's strong against dark. And for the Love theme deck, water is strong against earth. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these match up and how the dual aura cards for Seance are going to change the meta. It was also announced that we're going to get 4 blister packs again for Seance. The first blister pack that we're getting a look at is for the Fire Goat Beastie that we saw last week. And on the art here, we can see some fire wisps. We have these skeleton swarm here and a fire spider. So this blister pack specifically seems to be very fire themed. We did get a look at a very quick tease that was thrown up by Mike and then taken away quickly. And the tease here is for the Seance coin. The head side of the Seance coin is going to feature a number of beasties in the set. Seen here, you have the skeletal swarm that we saw on the blister pack art a few seconds ago. And if you look down at the bottom there, you can actually see that there is a head with the eyes of a Bigfoot. So I think with Seance, we're going to be seeing our first spirit Bigfoot. We have Walking Sam in the back playing Puppet Master over all of the beasties. We have a caster in the middle that I don't recognize, so we're most likely getting a new caster in Seance. And the beastie all the way over on the right is really interesting to me. With the art of the card, it does seem like it could be reminiscent of Wendigo or Piasa Bird. So I'm curious if we're going to be getting a new variant of an existing beastie. Mike also teased the Seance Special Aura. We don't know what it does, this is just a tease of the top of the card, but it's called Possessed Aura. Judging by the name, what I'm hoping it actually allows you to do is possess or take an aura from your opponent for your turn. And I can't wait to find out what this special aura does, especially because I think it is going to be very different from what we're used to with Prism Aura or Neutrality Totality Aura. And the big news for Seance this week was announced during the MetaZoo Hour, and that is that Seance will have a print run of 50,000 of each SKU. Now, in the MetaZoo Hour rundown, I did say that I had mixed feelings about that, and I would touch on that in this video. And the reason that I have mixed feelings about that is because I don't think that 100,000 was all that much of an issue. My personal feeling on this is that, yes, MetaZoo did overprint for the demand now, but I don't think that they overprinted for what the demand will be in the next year. With the IP coming out, there's going to be a massive influx of new interest in MetaZoo, and when that happens, they're going to be looking to pick up cards. By having that extra stock of Wilderness and UFO in the wild, that allows newcomers to pick up boxes easily and get into the game. Now, part of the reason that I have a mixed feeling on Seance having 50,000 is because Wilderness and UFO already had 100,000. So when the IP goes live within the next 6 months, say, there's going to be a massive influx of new players, and sure, they might have Wilderness and UFO readily available. Maybe Seance is going to be harder to come by, but it's also going to be a newer set. So in the end, nothing really changes. I still think that 100,000 was still fine for Wilderness and UFO. It just is a different outcome than what people wanted now. Now that we've covered UFO and Seance, it's actually interesting that we have our first native tease. Afton was doing a Q&A with Ultralight during a Theta stream this week, and she revealed that she had a card that she worked on for a future set. Specifically, she said the next core set after Seance. And we already know that the next core set after Seance is native, unless there's something else in the works that we don't know about. The art that she had shared is this vampiric book here that looks like it's being splashed out of this blood pool. And in the background, we have these ominous faces either on pillars or maybe the spines of other books. All of the reds on this art were also done in Afton's blood. We got a look at a couple of the Flork shirts this week, including the Snipe, the Riverside Monster, Momo, and Loveland Frogman, and there was a giveaway for these in the chat. Mike had set up a timer and said in 5 minutes, the last person that does the .flork command is going to win a Flork shirt. Alongside this was a 6-hour slow mode timer, which means that when you did your Flork command, you couldn't do another message in the chat for 6 hours. You had one shot to be able to enter the giveaway and win. Now, at the end of that 5 minutes, the winner, the last person that was able to flork, actually got one of every flork shirt that they're going to be releasing. And the 10 most recent florkers before the winner then also got one random flork shirt. And we florked so hard, we florked the flork server. The server broke. It just stopped working. So we didn't actually make it to the end of the 5-minute timer. They went with the last successful flork. If you want to get your hands on the flork shirts, these are going to be available on the 31st of August. Our latest tease on the Faded Spade Kickstarter is the art cards that are being packaged up. These are big square art cards that were done by the artists, and they're going to be in clear cellophane packaging. The Kickstarter packages are arriving in hand. The smallest packages are being shipped out first because those are easier to get out. The more complicated orders are going to be waiting until the end of the shipping cycle, followed by gilding. We've also been getting a really good look at the promo cards for the WPT Faded Spade Kickstarter, and these are gorgeous cards. The effects of these cards all have to do with token decks and give you a bonus for using tokens with certain sets. So for playability, these promos are very situational, but very powerful. They're also gorgeous, so I can't wait to get my hands on these and put these in my collection. MetaZoo announced that they're going to be at the Frogman Festival in March 2023. This will be in Ohio, and it features cryptids such as Loveland Frogman and other Ohio-based cryptids. Dee, the storyteller, who's part of the community, will be there presenting a paper that he's been writing. If you've been awaiting the 2nd anniversary celebration card, those are going to be shipping out at the end of the month, and MetaZoo did announce a number of people who won 2nd anniversary celebrations cards. And the winners of those cards are Young Pook 707, Skits, Paletti, Elijah Sparks, John, H-Bomb 1144, Dragon to Dawn, Captain Asia, Awful Waffle 7, James Jams 24, Slippy Napkin, Buddy Mac 28, Nerdy Shrooms 99, Condog, Hivebind, Ghost Train Conductor 1989, Chicago Dog, Rotten Pieces, Vaporizer, Metataka, Madcap Tech, Kev Bino, Pokemenace, Bad Joe, and Quanstar 4678. So congratulations to all of you for winning 2nd anniversary celebrations. New York City Comic Con is still a little over a month and a half away, but MetaZoo did say that there's going to be 6 booths there that are giving away MetaZoo products. I imagine what this means is that there's a number of partners there, such as Invasion Toys, and they're going to be giving away packs or other things that are related to MetaZoo, as well as stamping your passports. As we look to the birthdays this week, we have Kevin from R&D, and he has some amazing credentials. Mike says that he trained to be an astronaut at Cape Canaveral, and he does translation work for the UN and knows 8 different languages. So I hope you had a wonderful birthday, Kevin. This week was also Termentic's birthday on the 16th, and later that day we had our first MetaZoo hour in close to a month. Coincidence? I think not. So Termentic, I hope you had a wonderful birthday as well, and if you haven't checked out Termentic's channel yet, he does bite-sized readings of MetaZoo comics as well as Cryptid Theory videos. Now, last week's trivia question was done by Zorax TCG, or Drew, and his question was how many of the cosmic sample cards were reused for UFO? This does not include Flatwoods Monster, obviously, because the Flatwood Monsters art was used in Cryptid Nation. So that leaves Crawfordville Monster, Space Brains, UFO, Van Meter Visitor, Men in Black, and Old Saybrook's Blockheads as the 6 cards that had their art reused with UFO. Everybody who got that answer correct is on the spin wheel, and we're going to find out who wins this week's $15 gift card to Immortal Workshop. And the winner is Buff Unholy, so please reach out to me on the Discord to claim your $15 gift card to Immortal Workshop. For this week's question, I'm going to do something a little personal. If you can comment below what the first holo or reverse holo card that I ever pulled was, you will be entered into next week's gift card for $15 to Immortal Workshop. And to give everybody a hint, the answer is in an episode of Cryptid Conversations, the podcast that I'm doing with Caster's Corner. So for our top story, we're going to talk about Collecticon Long Beach and what happened there. First off, for those of us collecting the plushies, this is the next opportunity to get the Cumberland Dragon plushie. The promo has been teased for a while now of the Chibi Cumberland Dragon breaking out of its egg and this time the head is out with an egg on its head as part of a hat. And the plushies that accompany this promo didn't actually make it to Long Beach, so those will be shipped direct to consumer at a later date. There were tons of various giveaways of UFO and wilderness packs. You had Bailey doing a break on Twitch where he was giving away CN2 and UFO packs, as well as other things such as an Invasion Toys Poltergeist, tarot cards, as well as Caster's Cup cards from his personal collection. And on Sunday, they did a break of a Kickstarter box. There were a number of vendors there that work with MetaZoo that were giving out packs as well. For those that had their passports, they were able to get those stamped, and for those that didn't have passports, they were able to get a passport. Now, some people were sad to hear that Mike was not attending Long Beach Collecticon, and this is because Mike has decided to focus his time on writing the MetaZoo Cryptid Nation story. So Mike announced this week that he's taking a 2-month writing retreat where he's going to be doing his day-to-day duties at work, and then in his off hours he's going to be focusing on writing the rest of the story. However, a number of the MetaZoo artists and staff did attend the event. You had Jet Yates, Kelsey Giacchino, Lily, Poncho, Chris Campman, Isaac Skylee, and Bruns, as well as your normal staff such as Texas Ted. So even though Mike did not attend, there was still an opportunity to meet the MetaZoo staff, the artists, get your things signed, and have a good time. Now, when Mike does his signings, you just need to have a MetaZoo coin with you to give him to do the signing. In lieu of that, for Long Beach Collecticon, there was a giant spin wheel. And on that spin wheel, if you hit the crystal ball, you got to choose between one of 3 bags, and those 3 bags could hold anything from spell books to spoiler packs to a CN2 box stopper. Some of them did hold tarot cards, and that's how people were able to get tarot cards at the event. Now, I reached out to one of our community members, Alanjai, to provide pictures of Collecticon since I was not able to go. You may know Alanjai from running the Secret Rare website that keeps track of the Green Men and the UFO secret rares that have been pulled. There's a link in the description below for that, and it's a wonderful place to go to keep track of what's been pulled. And as a PSA for that website, there are a number of beasties still trapped in UFO booster boxes, and a number of green men still trapped in wilderness booster boxes. Get out there, hunt them down, and report them to Alan. And I have to admit, one of the pictures that he sent me makes me incredibly jealous. He got a signed copy of Blood Moon from Lily, the artist of the card. And in the moon, she drew a caricature of Ravenmocker, a beastie that we've yet to see. And this caricature is the closest image of a Ravenmocker that we've seen so far. So I'm hoping that it's in Seance so we can get a full picture of what the Ravenmocker looks like. Well, that's all I wanted to cover for this week. Thank you for watching this week's updates. As I mentioned before, if you want to check out Tormentic's orb video, do that here. And if you wanted to check out the recent MetaZoo hour, you can do that here.